Hi, Nathaniel here. I'm in New York City at Trump Tower, which is on 5th Avenue between 56th and 57th Street. Trump Tower is the home of the Trump Organization. The Trump Organization gets its start from Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump. However, the name came about because Donald Trump needed a name for the organization when he was trying to do business deals. The organization gets its start from Zed Avenue in Brooklyn and Sheepheads Bay area. For those of you that want to have an idea where that is, it's just west of JFK Airport in the Marine Park, just northwest of Coney Island. The Trump Organization was used by Donald Trump when he was trying to do business deals with people and developers to develop residential properties and to redo some of the hotels here in New York City. Donald Trump purchased the air rights to build Trump Tower from the building next to it, which is Tiffany & Company. He did it on a verbal, non-written agreement to own the air rights. The reason why this was important is that you weren't able to build all the way up there if you didn't own the air rights to do so. So it was very important to do that. It was controversial on the owner of Tiffany's & Company because people believe that he at Tiffany's gave away the air rights too cheaply. Where Trump Tower currently sits was once the Bonwit Teller department store, which was a high-end place for female clothing and garments. The land that it sits on is actually not owned by the Trump Organization or the Trump Building. When Trump made the arrangements to build the building, he signed a 99-year lease with the building owners. This isn't all that uncommon for New York City, and a lot of buildings actually are done that way. The construction lasted from 1979 to 1984, topping out in July of 1982 at 664 feet, around 202 meters. 202 meters. The 14th through 26th floor is mostly office space. The 26th floor is actually where Trump has his personal office that when he ran the Trump Organization. Floors 30 and up are residential. The top 3 floors are Trump's personal residence, and his personal residence is 10,996 square feet, or about 1,021.6 meters squared. The architect for the building was done by Der Sculpt, and the building has a couple of really interesting aspects to it. I'm going to take you inside and show you the atrium, which is 15 square feet and has a 60-foot waterfall, which is the largest indoor waterfall in the world. This also houses the 2016 Trump election committee, and will also house the 2020 re-election campaign for President Donald Trump. Some really interesting tenants in the building have been Johnny Carson, Paul Anka, Anne Hathaway. Actually, when Anne Hathaway lived here, she was married to an Italian who ended up going to prison for a very long time for some really shady stuff. His parents also lived here for a while. He's actually still in prison. Michael Jackson, my apologies, lived here in 1990. It'd be kind of cool if MJ lived here, but MJ's family lived here, so he probably just lived at home. Bruce Willis actually closed on a property here in 2000. David Merrick lived here, and Steven Spielberg also lived at Trump Tower. There are some controversies about Trump Tower. When this building was built, they had to tear down the old Bonwit department store, and there was these great limestone relief statues on the face of the building, and the Met and a few other people in New York wanted to keep these reliefs for artistic value, but because of the construction, it really wasn't possible to save them, and they crumbled in the process of demolishing the old building. So unfortunately, they weren't able to be saved. But Trump Tower is actually a really popular tourist spot in New York City, and has been well before the 2016 election. I used to come here back in the early 2000s, and I actually ended up coming across Donald Trump in 2009, where I was actually putting my hand on the building surface to take a picture of it, something that I do regularly when I go to tall buildings in cities. And he asked me what I was doing to his building, and I explained to him what I was doing, and he kind of laughed and chuckled because he does the same thing. and I ended up getting a couple of shirts and a couple of ties from him. So that was really nice. That was one of my more favorite meetings with Donald Trump. I got this hat directly from him, but that was in Iowa. Another really interesting thing, during the 2016 election, I was up in the building during the election, and when it came time when they called the election, they had to move these giant trucks outside the front of the building. And the foreign press was out here wanting to do a story, so they sent me out to do the foreign press. Now, along this side, I am on the west half of Fifth Avenue where the foreign press corps was, and the center where Hillary Clinton was supposed to hold her rally was starting to empty out because it became pretty obvious really early that she wasn't going to win, and a crowd started massing outside of here where I'm standing, which is kind of like there's these people here now, but this is kind of where everyone was sitting. Right at 7:24 here, there were a few other people here, and I was doing the stories, and Lady Gaga comes down Fifth Avenue, and she tries to climb on top of one of the big trucks outside the building, and a police captain had to drag her down. And she then had to come over and start talking to people that were over here, saying, love Trump's hate and a bunch of other rhetoric, which is all fine and dandy until she started kind of berating people. In which case, New York City, for being New York City, for whatever reason it is, there was a roll of toilet paper on the ground over there by 7:24. I don't know why it's there. I picked it up and I chucked it at her kind of playfully, and I beamed her right in the head with it. So I TP'd Lady Gaga on election night 2016, and that was kind of fun. That all happened right out of Trump Tower. So I got permission to go in and do some video recording inside the building. I'm going to show you some of the interesting parts about the atrium and about the marble in the building. So hang tight, and I'll see you inside. Okay, so I'm inside the building, and so you can see the 60-foot waterfall behind me. And like I said, to my knowledge, that is the tallest indoor waterfall in the world. All the marble for the building comes from a quarry upstate. Now, you can see this beautiful red color is the reason why they end up taking it, but they end up taking pretty much all of it. Famously, Donald Trump said that all the marble was going to cost more than one full month's rent at all of his buildings in Brooklyn. The brass staircase, the escalator that you can see here is the escalator that was first showed in the Simpsons episode where Trump runs for president, and is the escalator that he used to ride down the escalator to announce his election campaign. The tower does have several restaurants, and there's a little eatery down here, and there's a total of 3 restaurants, a Starbucks, and behind me is the bar. Now, all the marble in here, like I said, they used about 90% of all the marble the quarry had. Unfortunately, though, in the marble, as you can see in some areas, there's this whiter veins that kind of come through it, and Donald Trump didn't like those, and so about 60% of all of the marble they ended up taking, they didn't use, and so a lot of it ended up going to waste. Now, you see there's a lot of brass here. One of the things that became a problem in the early days of the Trump Tower is that they still had a mortgage on the building for the loan for the construction, which was, like I said, between $200 and $300 million. But the business partners weren't really happy about the fact that Donald Trump wanted to polish this brass all the time, and that was expensive. And they wanted him to cut back to only polishing it once a month, and he's like, no. So he ended up buying the building outright from his business partner, paying off the entire mortgage within a year of opening the building, and has also paid off that 99-year lease that they have with the building, the land the building sits on. Like I said, it belongs to a different person, and the lease has been paid off. Now, in 99 years, we'll see what happens, but I don't foresee them knocking the building down anytime soon, so we'll see what happens in 99 years. Now, that's pretty much a short history of Trump Tower. The campaign store is downstairs. You do have to be a voting person in the United States due to a ruling from the mid 20th century on corporations and unions being able to purchase or contribute to campaigns, because anything like this that you buy that's official is a campaign contribution. So foreign nationals can't make campaign campaign contributions. Either can, like trade unions and so on and so forth. So they're not allowed to do that. So you have to be a voting person to be able to purchase one of these hats, the official ones. However, in the building there's also a Trump store that sells a lot of Trump Tower merchandise and just the Trump name merchandise, like the golf bags, polos, stuff like that, which are not campaign related. And then Ivanka has a store here for the time being, but she is going to be closing that down very soon. But there's actually a nice little cafe downstairs. There's a little convenience store downstairs that does sell more than the knockoff stuff. So if you wanted one that looks like this, but not the real deal, you can do that. You can purchase one from the little convenience store down there. He's a very nice guy. He's a very good tenant. So that's Trump Tower in a nutshell. Thank you to the U.S. Secret Service, the Trump Organization, for letting me come inside and do this little reporting for you. Until next time, everyone, peace out.